Have you ever found yourself just endlessly scrolling, chasing that next notification, or hitting buy now on something you don't even really need? I think we've all been there. And look, it's not a lack of willpower. It's a system. It's a system that's been designed to target the most ancient, powerful reward circuits in your brain. So today, let's pull back the curtain on this hidden world and see exactly how your brain is being hijacked. It really all boils down to this one simple but honestly pretty deep question. Why do we get caught in these loops? Why are we chasing after these little digital rewards that, at the end of the day, leave us feeling kind of empty, or maybe even a little worse than when we started? The answer isn't really in what we're chasing, but in the engine that's driving the chase itself. And just to give you a sense of the scale here, get this. Research is showing that the average person now gets a little dopamine hit from their devices every 6 to 12 minutes. Think about that. Now compare that to our ancestors, who might have gotten that feeling a few times a day if they were lucky. This constant, relentless stimulation is fundamentally changing our brain's baseline. Okay, so to really get why this is happening, we have to go way back. We need to look at our brain's programming. I mean, this is a code that's millions of years old, and it's now trying to run in a world it was absolutely never designed for. And that right there is the key. It's the whole ball game. This system, the one that releases dopamine, it was perfected to motivate us to find things like food, water, social connection. Things that were super scarce but totally essential for our survival. Our brains are basically treating these notifications and digital signals as if we need them to stay alive. We're running survival software in a world of infinite digital abundance. All right, now this brings us to the absolute core of the hijack, and it's built on a massive, massive misconception about dopamine. We have to separate two very, very different experiences, the feeling of wanting something and the feeling of actually liking it. For years, we've all heard dopamine called the pleasure chemical, right? But as this quote points out, that's not really the full story. It's not quite right. For instance, did you know that your dopamine neurons actually fire before you get the reward? They fire during the anticipation. So if it's not pleasure, then what is it? Well, the answer is this concept that neuroscientists call incentive salience. But honestly, a much better word for it is just wanting. It's that powerful, almost unconscious motivational urge that makes you seek things out, explore, and pursue. It's the itch, it's the drive, it's the craving. And that system is what's fueled by dopamine. Now, this is where it gets really, really interesting. Wanting is all about dopamine. It's a super robust system that can be made stronger, more compulsive. It's that I have to get it feeling. Liking, on the other hand, well, that's the actual pleasure you feel. It's run by different brain systems, it's really fragile, and it's not even dependent on dopamine. And this right here is why you can get trapped in a cycle of desperately wanting something that you don't even like anymore. So with this split between our wanting and liking systems, how does the modern world exploit it? Well, the short answer is everywhere, and it's incredibly good at it. The easiest way to think about your phone is as a slot machine. The exact same psychological principle that makes slot machines one of the most addictive things on the planet is at play. You pull the lever or, refresh your feed, not knowing what you're going to get. Maybe it's nothing. Or maybe it's a jackpot of likes and amazing content. That unpredictability is what absolutely maxes out your dopamine system. And the people who design these apps have an entire toolkit to keep you pulling that lever. Variable rewards make every single scroll a gamble. The infinite scroll completely removes any natural reason to stop. Push notifications are engineered to interrupt you, to create a fear of missing out. And of course, social validation, the likes, the comments, the shares, those are the little pellets of social reward that keep that wanting engine firing on all cylinders. And it's not just social media. Oh no, the financial world has definitely caught on. Investing apps are now increasingly designed not for thoughtful long-term strategy, but for high-frequency emotional engagement. They've basically turned investing into a video game. This table just breaks it down perfectly. You see that burst of digital confetti after you make a trade? That's not just for fun. That is immediate positive reinforcement, and it's training your brain to do it again and again. Leaderboards, they tap right into our ancient need for social competition, which can push us into taking way bigger risks. And those push notifications about a hot stock, they're built to exploit your FOMO, your fear of missing out, and drive impulsive decisions. It's a system designed to make you act, not think. Okay, so what happens? What's the consequence of having our wanting system constantly jacked up to 11? Well, pretty soon the real world starts to feel a little dull, and a really dangerous cycle begins.
So your brain is always trying to stay in balance. So when it's flooded with these massive, totally artificial dopamine spikes, it adapts. It starts to downregulate. Basically, it reduces the number and the sensitivity of your dopamine receptors to protect itself. This is tolerance, and it means the same hit no longer works. So you need more and more stimulation just to feel normal.
And the physical evidence for this is, well, it's pretty stark. Brain imaging studies are showing that people with high digital device usage have 15 to 23% less activity in their brain's natural reward centers. The system is quite literally being worn out. This all can lead to a clinical state called anhedonia. It's when things that used to bring you real joy, a chat with a friend, a walk outside, reading a book, they just don't register anymore. They can't produce a strong enough signal to compete with the super intense stimuli you've gotten used to. Real life literally becomes less rewarding. But here's the good news, and it is really good news. Our brains have this incredible ability called plasticity. We are not permanently broken. It is absolutely possible to fight back and to recalibrate our internal reward system. As Stanford's Dr. Lemke points out, the real challenge of our time is finding balance. It's not about becoming a monk and avoiding all pleasure. It's about consciously managing our intake of these high dopamine hits so we can let our brains actually recover. So where do you even start? A foundational detox is such a powerful first step. And this isn't about throwing your phone in a river. It's about creating intentional friction. So start by removing the apps that are just too easy to abuse. You know which ones they are. Then create some sacred phone-free spaces, like the dinner table. And this is so crucial. Protect the bookends of your day. No phone for the first hour you're awake and the last hour before you sleep. That gives your brain a real chance to reset its baseline. And while you're cutting back on the artificial junk food for your brain, you need to start feeding it some healthy, natural dopamine sources. I mean, look at this list. Exercise is one of the most powerful tools we have. Good sleep is totally non-negotiable for restoring those receptors. And real face-to-face connection, that gives you the kind of sustainable, rewarding social interaction your brain actually evolved for. And at the end of the day, this is the ultimate takeaway. Dopamine isn't the enemy here. It is an incredible force for motivation and achievement. The real goal is to rescue it from the hijackers and put it back to work, driving you toward meaningful, real-world goals, not just the next digital hit. So the next time you reach for your phone to start scrolling, just ask yourself this one question. Is this a conscious choice you're making to achieve a goal, or is it an unconscious command from a wanting system that's been trained by an algorithm? Because knowing the difference, that is the first step to taking back control.